And while she's in Miami, she's like, "Oh, do you want to come to an NBA game with me?" And I'm like, "Oh, like sure, why not?" She's like, "Yeah, my son's playing tonight."
Today we had on Sarah Desamours. She talks about what it was like starting her business from scratch in Miami, how she secures top athletes as clients, the key to networking events, and why she gets up every morning at 5 a.m.
The Broke Agent presents Over Ask Podcast.
Sarah, we've been talking. I mean, we don't even know each other yet, but I feel like I've known you for 25 years. I mean, you just showed me your
Same.
hands. I feel like I know everything about you now. But that's Sarah off air. I'm not weird. Sarah off air said that someone asked to see her hands to see how
Yeah,
old she was,
there
and
was some context
they
behind
were
what Matt
wrong.
was saying.
Yeah,
is
they
what
were
he's saying.
completely wrong about her age. But that is what it is. But Sarah, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You have a interesting story because you are a fellow Canadian like
I know.
myself.
I know, eh?
And how long you been in Miami for?
I can't believe so. My license is actually expired now, and I could get arrested at any moment. 8 years.
You should just let it expire.
It
That's-
expired. I'm fucked. Like it's already expired, and I
Have
have
you
to
done-
renew it.
Have you done your continuing ed courses?
No, but I mean my driver's license, not my real
Oh.
estate. Yeah, but you
okay.
know how they give you like your driver's license, and it's good for 8 years. So my Florida, it's been 8 years now because it's
In
expired.
Arizona, it was like 30 years. So you could literally look like you're 18 and have the same driver's license. It's crazy. I had to change it when I
Really?
moved to California, but yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
damn.
Okay, so you've been there 8 years, and what was it? Let's just give the people who may not know you your kind of background, how everything kind of ended up and fell into place where it is now.
Okay, well, in Canada, I worked in mortgages for a really long time. Even part-time in college, I worked at a bank called CIBC, which is a pretty big bank in Canada.
I know it well.
And I worked part-time on the phones, picking up the phone when branches would call because things are totally different in Canada compared to here. Like people go more to banks when it comes to mortgages. And I worked there part-time. And then when I graduated, I ended up working in wealth management, but in the mortgage department. Meanwhile, I took my real estate course, but I was like, why would I leave my bomb ass job to go into real estate? Right? I'm like, they're giving me insurance, mat leave, I'm getting paid well. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. But I always loved real estate. And then I met a guy who was in Florida, and then I became pregnant, and then I ended up moving here. And I actually hated Miami when I first moved. Like I hated it. Like I used to cry every day. I hate because I
Oh my
found
God.
people were no, it was really bad. I hated Miami. I'm like, because
Why?
when you come from Montreal, people are really nice and friendly and really like, people open the door for you. And then I come to Miami with a newborn and people look at me dead in the eye and nobody's opening the door for me. Like it was like a culture shock for me moving to
They
America.
spit in front of the stroller or something? They go
Almost,
like
right? But the thing is, Miami, it's one thing when you come on vacation and it's one thing when you live there, right? So,
Right.
And also when I moved here, imagine I quit my job, I leave everything behind. I have a 4-month-old, and then I moved to Miami, and then me and the guy, it doesn't work out.
Right.
So I was like, fuck, like, what do I do? Do I go back to Montreal? Do I stay here? I don't really like it here. And then I remember my mom telling me, my mom was like, well, you didn't try. You've just been complaining and talking shit the whole time. Like you gave it zero effort to even try to. She's like, you've never left Montreal. In Montreal, I knew like everyone at every club, at every like everything was comfortable for me in Montreal. Born and raised there. And she's like, you have an opportunity to try something new. So at least make an effort, like try a little bit, give it a year. Because she told me, if you go back to Montreal, your daughter is not going to have the same relationship with her dad. Which to me, like, was like a knife in my stomach because I'm like, damn, like he's a really good dad. Even if it didn't work out with him, he's an awesome dad. And like, I don't want her to like resent me later or whatnot. So I'm like, okay, let me try. Let me figure it out. And I'm like, okay, I'm already there. I'm already like in Miami, and I'm like, oh, people are like a little superficial here. And I'm like, okay, let me get into sales, right? Right. So I'm like, okay, I had a really bad experience with a realtor here. I found that the realtors in general, I think it's like that everywhere. I thought they were horrible. And I thought, okay, well, I have the Canadian customer service experience. I worked in mortgages for a really long time. I worked in wealth management. I'm like, you know what? Let me jump in it like full time. Let me just take a risk. I'm like, I'm already there. Like, what do I have to lose? Let me just, try. And then what I did, I called all the realtors I was working with when I worked in mortgages. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? And they told me exactly what to do. And I followed like exactly what they told me to do.
And what did that look like the first like 6 months in Miami? Like what did they tell you to do exactly? Because you were building a book of business completely from scratch, right? You knew
From
nobody.
scratch. I had no friends. Well, actually, I have one friend, Paola. Like, I have a friend here, but she lived like over an hour away. So I didn't know anybody, and I didn't speak Spanish, which was huge. So the realtors told me, they were like, you need to go in it full time. And they're like, you need to go to a company that's going to teach you how to be a realtor because no one's going to sit there and teach you unless you join a team, which I didn't want to do at the time.
So you
And
joined EXP, right?
they didn't exist at the time, but that's
Right,
probably
right.
where I would have ended up back in 2015. I went to KW, Keller Williams.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
Because they
that's
have
where
a
I
good
started.
training program.
Yeah, they had like a really good training program. And they also told me you need to get a mentor, get into coaching from the beginning, which I couldn't afford at the time. And I'm like, okay, well, KW has this productivity training thing. So let me go into it. So my course is very different than anyone. My first 6 months, I killed it, like killed it. But I feel like I got lucky. But then my second year was like,
Yeah.
the downfall was the second year. Because I thought the first year, my first 6 months, like I kind of got lucky. I got big clients and whatnot. I thought it was it. I'm like, I don't have to prospect. I don't have to cold call. Like, I'm fine.
They're just going to keep coming to you. The leads just raining down.
How did you get lucky? Because some would say you have to be good to get lucky.
Yeah.
So
but I was good. So I'm gonna say like I was good. I got lucky, but I know what I did because I would go to networking events and act like I was the best top realtor in Miami. Like I would just walk in there just like with an attitude and with like the confidence as if I had been selling real estate forever and I hadn't done one deal.
What
nice.
sort
You're
of
like
network?
you're like all of Eric's memes for the first 2 years of the broken.
Yeah,
Basically.
exactly.
Minus
Except
the
she
car in
actually-
the background.
Except she actually attended the events. That takes guts to actually
That
do
does
that.
take
So
guts.
what sort of events were you attending? Because I'm sure these were like highfalutin, like Miami networking events. These aren't your standard, I don't want to use another state as an example, I guess, but you're going in there with probably like high net worth people, right? Because you like integrated the luxury market immediately.
I didn't do it, not even immediately. Like at the
Oh, okay.
beginning, I'm like, I just want a client, right? So what I would do is, and it was really tough for me because remember, I'm a single mom. So my daughter's in daycare. I can't go to happy hours. I can't go to the night events. I could only go, and even the breakfast events, I could only go to the ones at a specific time. So I could only do like the breakfast networking events and the lunches. So I would go to like the Chamber of Commerce events and very like really, really early on, I realized that you have to do what you love doing and go to these events. Like I love art. I've always loved art. I'm an art collector. And I'm like, okay, let me become a part of the Perez Art Museum in Miami and go to like their events that they do during the day or whatnot. So this is how I got my first clients.
Right.
That's great advice to go to networking events that you enjoy to go to. Because I went to like these young LA foundation events when I first became an agent, and it was literally all just other real estate agents talking to each other. We would just talk to someone, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm also a real estate agent. I'm an agent," and I felt like a fish out of water when I ended up just crushing like a few old fashions and then leaving, and kind of found it as like an excuse to just go out, basically. But
and then you had a bunch of cards of other realtors.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's the worst when
worst.
you leave. So that's actually similar to Sirhan's method early on. He would like get memberships to a bunch of gyms because he liked to work
Yeah,
out.
I did that too.
Okay, so that's interesting. So that's how you got all your first clients, just kind of doing things that you liked essentially, and networking with the people around you.
And I find that there's a hustle that new realtors have that I feel like we need to keep having. Like even sometimes now I'm like, I wish I had that, like telling everyone that I'm a realtor. Like even the front desk people at the gym, I'd be like, hey, I'm a realtor. If you have anyone, like I had that in me. Well, I still have it, but at the beginning it was really, really intense. Like I would, at the first 6 months, I didn't really do any prospecting. I would just go to events and networking events and just, I had this follow-up email that I would send to every single person that I would meet.
So I mean, I had when I first started, I had that aggression a bit too. I told this, I think, to Eric. I would sit in Tim Hortons for 5 hours
Oh,
and
Tim
just scroll
Hortons.
around. Yeah, scroll around my computer and have a sign that said, "I'm a real estate agent. If you have any questions, ask me a question." And I did that for months, for hours. And I only had one person ever come up to me, and it was another real estate agent who said that it was a good idea.
Yeah, you may as well put up a sign that says "Don't talk to." That's the exact
Yeah.
opposite sign I would put up if I wanted people to talk to me. Was
Yeah.
this sign like a folder or like just a piece of paper, or did you have like a straight like open house sign that you like lodged into the ground?
It was a piece of paper that I folded into two, so it just kind of said,
Oh
God,
my
that's
God. You should keep that. Do
embarrassing.
you still have it? Like as a
no.
reminder,
You could just
humble
make
beginnings.
another.
No, after my last time at Tim Hortons, I ripped it up and threw it in the garbage and thought I was going to
Smart.
quit real estate. Yeah. So
Sarah, when you were asked or when you were at these networking events telling people you were a real estate agent, did they know that you were a new agent or were you
No,
acting
I
like an
never told him that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's
Never.
kind of the move, right? Because if you just start telling everybody you're a new agent, obviously
right.
no one's
And
going to work with you.
don't lie. Don't lie. And
I didn't
don't-
lie.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. Don't lie.
I
and
just
say-
didn't mention it.
Say exactly. Don't mention it because it can't do you really any good. Like if you mention it, right? So just like kind of play the part a little bit, and yeah, I think that's the smart move.
I would tell people I've been in real estate for a number of years.
Yeah.
6 months.
Which is true. She was at mortgages.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
And everyone's technically in real estate if you think
We
about it.
all
gonna
are.
say that.
We're
We're in
all
real estate
renting.
I'm
right
literally
now.
sitting in a house right now, an apartment.
Look,
But
right?
you know,
It's all about like how you
No, real
word
estate.
it. I think attitude was really important for me because I actually have a client. She was my second client ever. She became a really good friend of mine. And it's when I did the podcast with Tom Ferry that she was like, wait, hold on. You started this year. She's like, that means you were a brand new agent. And I
She's
told
like,
her,
"You scammed me."
yeah.
Yeah,
But you know what she told me? She told me she had no idea.
well, that's good.
that's good. So
She told me she had no idea.
So Miami, I've never been there. Well, I was there for a layover one time, but I assume it was it's like you were saying a little, and I don't know. I guess it's a little superficial, like you were saying. So how do you kind of like put your footprint in that, and how did you stand out? And this is a couple questions. Was
Yeah.
there one client or sale that kind of took you to the next level?
Yeah. So you're totally right. It's a totally different market, but there's a lot of opportunities. One thing that I told myself is that I'm actually in a city where I can work with Canadians. I can work with people from New York. I can work with people from Chicago. And coming from the Northeast, right? We're in Miami. We're in a vacation city. People come here on vacation. They come to drink. They come to have fun. I quickly realized that. So in Canada, they're really strict with customer service everywhere you work. Even where my first job was at KFC, and at KFC they had like secret clients. You know, people that come to evaluate you. They're very, very strict with customer service. When I worked at Scotiabank, when you get evaluated, it was either poor or excellent. There was no middle, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up. I've been working since I was 15. So I had the customer service. You know, it was kind of in me. And in Miami, I realized people would like lose their shit. Can I swear? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
Please.
Confirmed.
Thank God. People would lose their shit when people call you and then you text them, hey, I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting. I'll call you after. People were like, oh, wow, like I've never had that. Wow, you're like such a good agent. Like my last agent never answered their call. And then I'm like, it clicked. And I'm like, oh shit, there's really bad customer service. So I'm like, let me maximize that.
Right.
Like, what can I do to make everybody know that I provide really good customer service? So what I did from the beginning, even with my shitty rentals or like my little like clients that were really low, I made everybody write me testimonials.
Yeah.
Good call. And Google review or just testimonial?
But back in the days, Google review, like I wasn't there yet. It was Facebook
Right.
page reviews.
Right.
So
And did you have that one client that kind of took you to the next level?
I did.
Nice. No one ever does. We asked this question.
Yeah,
no one
no.
ever
No, I
has that.
had one
exactly.
client that took me to the next level.
Who's the
Okay.
client that took you to the next level?
Is
No,
it
I
Salt
can't-
Bay?
No.
Okay.
That guy's a
Remember how I
criminal. You see
mentioned
that
I
guy?
love art, right? Remember how I
Yeah.
mentioned
Yep.
I love
Yeah.
art? So I'm the type of person, I'll travel alone. I'll go to an event alone. I don't wait for people to come with me because then you're disappointed and you're like, oh, this person didn't show up. Now I'm stuck. And I realize that when you're alone, people talk to you more.
True.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting. So I was supposed to go to an art basel. We have art basel in Miami, which is one of the biggest events of the year.
Oh,
So
we
mind
know.
you,
Trust me. Dan O'Neill doesn't let us not know.
Yeah, he's got like 15 Instagram stories a day about it.
Yeah.
you guys have to
Yeah.
come.
So it's like a music festival / art festival / parties. Like what exactly is
It
it?
is an art exhibit. Everything is centered around art, but it's a bunch of parties and a lot of traffic.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's a huge event where like celebrities come and whatnot, right? So
Does anyone ever call it fart Basil?
that's a good
No.
idea.
Yeah,
That's a really good idea.
thought that
don't
would
like
land a
Basil.
little bit better than that.
Oh
I don't
my
like
god.
it. Yeah, no, I don't
Art,
like that one.
no,
No.
I think art basil is like
Okay.
Yeah, what about
what it is.
just let's stick to art? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Sarah. So you were
Okay,
at Art Basel and you met
so
a
mind
client.
you, I got my license in May 2015, and then in June was art. Not June. I'm sorry. May was when I got my license, and then in December was art basel. And it was art basel, and I have a friend that was supposed to meet up with me at an event, and obviously people bail on you, and I ended up being alone. But again, I don't care when I'm alone. So there's an older lady that starts talking to me. I start talking to her. We kind of vibe. She tells me she's not from here. She's from LA. We're just cool. We're talking. Or she's super, super, super nice. And then she's like, well, actually, it's not, you're a realtor. I wanted to invest in real estate, etc. I'm like, okay, cool. If you're there for this week, I can take you around. I have time or whatnot. And by the way, at the time I had a Honda CRV. Like I didn't have a luxury car. I didn't have luxury bags. I didn't have any of that. I was just really friendly with her and she was
Great.
really nice to me.
Great car.
And then we ended up looking at a couple of properties and she liked a pre-construction project. And if you guys didn't know, in Miami, pre-construction projects pay you 6 to 7% commission.
Nice.
There we
give
go. That's all I
you-
do.
Right? They give you 3% up front when the person gives the 20% down, and then you get the rest of the commission kind of in phases, right?
Yeah.
So immediately, like here and there, she buys 2 units immediately. And I'm like, and she looks very like chill and normal. I'm like, hey, well, I don't know what you're doing or what your husband, I don't know, but I was like shocked. And I'm taking her around in my Honda and she's super nice, right? So about a year and a half later, right? She lives in LA. She comes back to like take a look at the project, right? And while she's in Miami, she's like, "Oh, do you want to come to an NBA game with me?" And I'm like, "Oh, like sure, why not?" She's like, "Yeah, my son's playing tonight."
Oh damn, this is getting juicy. All right.
Again,
we
a
got?
year and a half later.
Who is it? Did he play for the Miami Heat?
Yeah.
Was it?
Is it LeBron
I can't,
James?
Dwayne
I
Wade?
can't
Yeah,
say the
exactly.
name. I haven't.
No.
Give me a hint. I know everything about
But
sports.
I can basically talk about another client that was referred to me because of that I can talk about because he's posted me on his Instagram. But from that client, I got introduced to the NBA world, sports and entertainment. I got clients like Jay Crowder, Marcus Smart, all big
damn.
NBA players. So because of her,
That's awesome.
because she was the mom of a player.
Right. So before this explosion with the NBA players and the luxury market and everything, you said
Yeah.
there was a little fall off from year 1
Oh
to
my
year
God.
2. So,
Like
so
a
you crushed
nightmare.
you crushed year 1 because you
Not
were
even year 1, like 6 months.
6 months in.
Yeah.
Crushed it. You're pumped up. You're like, this is easy. This is gonna be incredible. What happened after that? Did you just kind of lose the drive, or did deals fall apart? Like what went down in those next 12 months?
Okay, so mind you, I meet this lady in December. She puts she buys the unit, but I believe it was still like reservation fees or whatnot. So I didn't get paid. I got paid a little bit like a month after. So it was like a big chunk of money. And I was like, oh, this is great. But then in real estate, how you get a big chunk of money and you're like, oh, I'm good.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
But then
Eric's
I'm
still
like-
on his big chunk.
Exactly. I've been writing that for 6 years. I sold a condo 6 years ago, Sarah, and I'm still just like this.
You're
is
still like
incredible.
living off
Yeah,
of that. Like
exactly.
I was like, oh, I'm good. And then in the meanwhile, of course, like I had a couple of clients, like people that get referred to me. And I did like a month, 2 months, 3 months without prospecting a lot, just like focusing on the deals that I have. When you have 2, 3 deals and you're like really, really focused on them. No, I'm sorry. I had 4 deals pending, right? One of them falls through. Second one falls through. Third one falls through. And then when the fourth one is about to fall through, I realize that I have almost no more money. At this point, it's summer, right? Summer 2016. I have like almost no, like when I tell you no more money, I'm like, when you start freaking out because the deals that fall through, it's not deals that people are like, oh, let's keep looking. Like the let's keep looking is a fucking nightmare because like the price point that they're in, it's just really, really, really tough. And then I had when the last deal fell through, that's when I was like, I got the sharp pain in my stomach. And I'm like, why the fuck did I get into this? Like, I hate this. I hate this. And then the other deal that I did, the pre-construction girl, like my next commission was like in a year and a half. Like it wasn't anytime soon. And I'm just like, I have to eat today, right? Like I have to pay my bills today.
Yeah. And so, you have a daughter on top of that.
And at the time she was like, what, 1.5?
Yeah.
Like 1.5, I'm not even like she was in daycare and I'm just freaking out. And I'm not the type of person, I don't like to ask people for help, which is a flaw. It's a flaw, but at the same time, it like helps me hustle. So I went down to zero, like below zero. Like 0, 0, 0, like nothing. Okay. I had to ask my mom, I had to ask my parents to like borrow money. Like it was really bad.
So let's get a timeline here. First 6 months you crush.
Rookie of the year, I get the little trophy.
Nice, amazing. Then you go through a super rocky patch. You miss everything. How long after that last deal fell through did you go to that NBA game with that initial client, the NBA's mom?
The NBA game. So I met her in December, like a year and a half after that. But there's things that also happened between that.
Yeah. So what'd you do to climb out of that hole when you were below zero? Did you get another job? Did you just go all in?
I did get another job. I drove Uber for a couple of months.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Matt. I actually drove Lyft for 3 weeks.
I did both. I did Uber and Lyft.
What?
Lyft in 2000. Yeah, you could do both. But I did Lyft in 2014 when I quit the Laugh Factory, and that was when you had those stupid pink mustaches that you would put on your car. Do you remember those?
Oh my God, I remember.
It was the most embarrassing, cringiest thing you could ever do on the face of the earth. Is I had to open up my trunk and pull out a huge pink mustache and literally stick it to the front of your car. And you just drive around like literally you're like a clown driving around.
Oh
basically.
My God, yeah. No, it's terrible.
Ridiculous.
It was terrible. And it's crazy because I used to be embarrassed to talk about it. I was very I had nobody. The only person that knew was a friend of mine who was also a realtor who also went through it. And he was like, hey, maybe you could do this on the side because it enables you to still work and you can meet people while you're driving.
I was going to say, did you pick up any clients?
So he was, because me, I'm like, okay, I have my kid. I can't take a 9-to-5 job because I still want to be a realtor, right? At this point, I'm like, I really like it. Like, I like talking to people. I like the job. And I'm like, but I don't want to do bartender or anything that's going to make me like lose sleep or whatnot. So my friend was like, hey, you should Uber. So it was only at the time, it was only him, my sister, and my mom who knew. Like I was embarrassed to even tell my dad, because I'm like, I don't want to disappoint him. I don't want to disappoint my family. Everybody was like, oh, why would you go? So some people in my culture, it's very like, you have to get like a more stable job, So it's like, I don't want to disappoint people. I'm embarrassed that, I could have went back to Canada to my comfort. I could have gotten a job at the bank. I didn't do that. I took a risk and I was embarrassed and I wouldn't tell people that I did that for a long time. I was even afraid when I did the podcast with Tom Ferry and I spoke about it for the first time, I was so upset after. I'm like, please, can you take out that part? Because I was so embarrassed to even share it. Then I had a bunch of people reach out to me and they're like, thanks for sharing that. Because me too, or I also had to get a side job. So that's something that things are not perfect. So I tell people it happens. You might at one point get a side job just to pay your bills, as long as I'm just happy I didn't give up real estate because it only lasted a couple of weeks for me to get back up on my feet.
Yeah, I mean, that's admirable. My friend who I worked with, who was a buyer's agent at Hilton Highland when I first started, he was a bartender still at night.
Yeah.
Everyone says when you get into the business, you can't be a part-time agent. If you're a part-time agent, you're a full-time asshole. Byron always says this. This is a pretty funny line.
I was told that too. Told that too. That's why I was like, shit, what am I going to do doing something else and this? But then I'm like, I have to feed my kid.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't know when your next
Yeah.
commission check is coming.
Yeah.
And I think the stigma really is just more for agents who kind of half-ass real estate. That's kind of where the part-time agent thing comes in, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, if you're just, you're kind of half in, half out, but you're working
Mhm.
something else. But if you actually have to physically do something to pay your bills, like that's admirable. Like you have to do that. But you were still doing real estate all
100%.
day.
Like my schedule, like I would work for years and that's something that people don't see. People look at social media, they look at success, but up until right before COVID, I would work until midnight, 1 a.m. every single day and
Yeah.
still wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. I would get 4 or 5 hours of sleep every day because I didn't have a marketing coordinator. I didn't have an assistant. I didn't have a transaction coordinator. Like I had to do everything myself. And I'm like, I want things to be on point. I want the customer service to be on point. So I'm like, I knew that if I gave in that time, that eventually it would pay off. And it did.
Yeah, and now do you have are you still just a solo agent, or you have a full team now?
No, I have a team.
A full team.
Yeah.
And are you pretty much all luxury at this point? I guess you are, and your team takes on the
So I don't say that I don't work at a certain price point.
yeah.
I don't say no to any business, but I have a bigger focus on luxury. That's from the beginning. Even when I was driving Uber, I told myself I'm going to be a luxury agent. I used to tell people I'm a luxury agent. Like I'm selling high-end real estate. I used to go door knocking with my daughter in the stroller in
Yeah.
the like most expensive neighborhoods in Miami in the heat.
That's endearing.
It is endearing. I feel like that's definitely
Yeah.
something you'd want to open the door to, as opposed to just looking at like Matt or myself.
Like
Like you
me.
have a
That's
kid
why
there
door
that's
knocking
probably,
didn't work for me.
yeah, you have a kid there that's a good buffer. That's a good conversation topic.
Well, while I
Yeah.
was driving Uber,
Maybe.
that lady actually referred me to a player, to an NBA player, and there's an area called Pinecrest in Miami, which is like Beverly Hills, I guess. It's super expensive. And at the time, while I was driving, still, not doing the best, but I was about to stop doing Uber, but I did the highest rental at the time in that
All
area.
right. What are we talking? What are we talking?
At the time it was 18,000 a month
Damn. Pretty good.
at the time.
No, it's probably like 30.
Yeah, probably more than that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the athletes, are they? I guess it depends on their contract if they're buying or renting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
So,
some of them rent, some of them buy, some of them are like single. They don't have a family yet. They'd rather rent, or it depends on their situation.
right. So, what has been your highest price sale,
My
if you can
highest
share?
price sale was $7.2 million.
7.2 million. Eric, run the numbers on that. What are we talking?
What, commission wise, or what do you
Yeah.
mean? What
Yeah.
numbers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, was it
You're the
2.5%?
numbers guy.
Yeah. 140 grand, 200 grand for a commission,
140
something like that.
grand.
No?
No?
What do you mean? What's 2.5% of 7 million?
It's not 2.5%.
Okay. Well,
How much
whatever it is.
percent? How much?
It's 3%.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there.
7.1, you said?
Yeah, more $250,000, something like that, which is solid. When you're working with
Okay,
these,
213.
yeah, exactly. I said 210 at the beginning. My math was semi-accurate.
But then you went down.
Well, look, I was all over the place. Sarah, when you're working with these athletes, are you working with them directly? Are you working with their business manager? Are they the ones seeing the properties, or is it kind of like you have, one of their like minions reach out to you, you show them, and they basically sign the check? Like, how does that
It
work?
really depends on who. It depends on
Okay.
who it is. Sometimes I'm working with, I always try to figure out who's the person I need to be talking to.
Yeah.
That's very, very important because you can be like talking to someone and the real athlete is working with 4 different realtors, right?
Right.
So you really have to figure out like who's the go-to person. A lot of times I'm working with them directly, or if they have a wife, and I think that's one of the reasons why some of them like working with me is because I grew up in Canada. I'm not into NFL. I'm not really into the NBA that much, so I don't really know who they are.
So
And
there's not like that star factor.
Yeah, I feel like that's helped me a lot. Like it's helped me a lot in my career. And even when I do know who they are, I'm just kind of like, okay, like I'm not very I've never been very starstruck. Like of course there's
Right.
a couple celebrities, like if you refer me to some
Yeah,
people,
Brad
I'm gonna
Pitt.
be like, but for them, like
Yeah.
for me, athletes, and a lot of them are young too, right? Some of them are really, really young, like 19, 20 years old. So I'm like, okay, that's like, you're like the age of my godson. So it's like, I'm not starstruck at all. And I try to figure out who I need to talk to. Sometimes it's the mom, sometimes it's the girlfriend, sometimes it's the wife, or sometimes it's like the cousin who's his assistant or whatnot, and I try
Yeah.
to and I keep it super, super, super professional. Like I'm not there to talk about like if they give me a lot of times they'll give me tickets to the games or whatnot. A lot of times I give it to my clients that are less fortunate or that have a bunch of kids and that can never go out. So I try to just be as professional as possible with them.
Is there anything that you've seen now that you've worked with a bunch of athletes and these like high income people? Is there anything that you do differently or that you think other than not being starstruck that you
Mhm.
think they just really like some a way of talking or something like that?
Yeah, I think I do. Some people are
You,
gonna kill me for that.
okay.
What
Well,
is
let's get
So
into
like I
it.
talk to them. Some of them I have to talk to them like they're fucking kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's not, and
And
I'm
they
just like
so they almost like to be babied.
yeah.
Huh.
Some of them, not all of them. Again, not all of them,
Right.
but some of them. I'm like, hello. Like I have to be like, your rent is due. You have the money. Why aren't you paying? Oh, yo, man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna do the wire. I'm like, yo, do the fucking wire. Like, what are you
Right.
doing? I have to talk to them like that sometimes. And
Okay.
I feel like some of them, like, not everyone, but some of them will respect you. Like if you don't, you're not. I'm not starstruck. I don't care who you are. You have to pay your rent. They
Do you
will do an eviction. They don't care who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you think they judge you now on how you dress, the car you pull up in? Do you think that plays a big factor into the end goal of selling them or buying them something?
I think how you dress is important, regardless of the brands that you wear. Uh, Especially with athletes or celebrities or with anyone. I would say just with anyone. For example, right? Some people dress a certain way that's like super sexy or whatnot, but I
Thank
have
you.
seen
Yeah.
people get fired because the wife didn't like that. Do you see
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Yep. That's
I've
yeah.
seen people get fired, and even how I dress, I'm pretty covered. Like I've had issues.
Yeah.
Like I'm covered. I wear sneakers. I'm more chill, laid back, but I still dress well. But I've still had issues of that, like wives are uncomfortable with me.
Yeah,
Right.
I could
It's
see.
happened to me.
I've never had that issue with husbands or anything,
Yeah,
but
me neither, man. It's weird.
it's
Maybe
weird.
we're just not being revealing as we should.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
you can like it's something that can happen regardless of what you do. So that's why you always have to
Right.
keep it professional.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
What
interesting. And what go for it, Eric.
I was just gonna say, what are some like systems you have in place? I know that's kind of like a cliche real estate podcast question to
Listen.
ask. I don't even know what systems means actually. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Let me say, how
are
about
you
this? How
using
about this?
top producer? Or what's
Yeah,
going
I don't
on?
know. I don't know.
Oh my god.
I tried to be Jason Pantana right there. Let me think about that in a different way. How about it? I'll ask you this. Are you working more with buyers right now or sellers?
I think it's 50-50 right now.
Okay.
And
Okay.
for systems, that's one of the things that happened where I got to the point where I had to hire an assistant.
So there are systems. Okay, good.
There are systems, and
Eric
Yeah.
was talking about like Mac OS and Windows.
Yeah, I meant like, are you
oh,
playing
you mean
Xbox or
like you
GameCube
mean
or
like yeah,
PlayStation? Yeah, exactly.
or
What
like what
systems
kind of
do you
like sound
play? Yeah,
system?
exactly. No, you have business systems. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You seemed like you
Okay.
were about to say something that was good.
Yeah.
So what I did when I got my assistant, before I got my first assistant, I spent time writing down my processes for everything, but
Processes. Yeah.
in the best case scenario. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, I'm like, if
No.
I had the
Like
time, I would do this.
like
Right, right.
journaling
Like
No,
almost.
like
vision boarding.
checklist. No, not
Checklist.
even that. Like checklist. For example, okay, someone calls me, like someone contacts me on Instagram, and they're like, "Hey, I want a consultation with you." Like, what do I do from there? Like, just having checklists for everything. Hey, I would send you a calendar invite for a phone call. I would send you a questionnaire before, like all this shit that I was not doing. That I'm like, if I had more time or if I had someone helping me, I would do that.
Mhm.
Like again, just focusing on customer service, right? Just saying, okay, if I was the client and if I were to reach out to someone, what would make me go, damn, that was really nice, right? So I took time to write down my checklist for every single thing, even when I get a realtor referral,
Right. And
right?
that makes you stand out so much because if they're booking appointments with 3 agents and you get, they get sent all this stuff from you, and the other agents, they get nothing. Right away, you're at an advantage.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, I don't have time to do it now, but if I hire an assistant, that's going to be her job to make sure that all of those checklists are followed. For example, when I get a realtor referral, most of the realtor referrals is just, oh, I send a text message and that's it. No, I have a whole checklist for, hey, like a thank you email. I do this post where I do like a collab post and I shout them out. Like I have a bunch of different things that I do, but I have processes for every single thing, even showings.
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah,
come up with these?
I just thought like if I'm the client, what I would like, and I'm really
Yeah.
picky. So
right.
I what would make me like write a review and say, oh, the person went above and beyond. Right. So then I wrote this checklist and I tried my best. Like I always modify it, but it's not just it's a good accountability for me, but I also have an assistant and I have a team and everybody has to follow that checklist regardless of the price point. Like I don't care if it's a $1,500 rental or a $20,000 a month rental. Like we're following that because every client is an amazing client. It doesn't matter at the price point.
Yeah. And you have to take that jump sometimes. I think so many people are scared of what it's going to cost them, like an assistant or some other team, a marketing manager or something like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes just like a lot of people don't see it as investment. Like you've probably made so much more. Sure,
Oh
you're paying
yeah.
them whatever you're paying them, but the return on investment is probably so much more than what you're paying them anyways. But I think it's hard for people sometimes to see through that.
It's
Would you agree?
it's scary. I was scared shitless to hire an assistant. Like
Okay,
I was
good.
terrified
I
because
thought I was way off.
Yeah.
no, no,
She
no,
just
no, no.
she
Like
just passes out.
I was like, no, but it is scary because you know what I thought of before hiring my assistant? You know how like when you have a job, you're waiting for your paycheck to pay for your car, to pay for your rent. I'm like, I would be responsible for someone's rent, from someone's car, for someone's. I'm like, how the hell am I gonna do that? Like I'm still trying to figure out my own financial situation.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that was probably one of the best decisions I've made in my business was to hire an assistant.
I hear that all the time. I hear like literally assistants the best. Now I have heard with teams, a lot of people I know who have teams are like, I made way more when I was a solo agent, and like they hate like managing teams.
Yeah, I hate managing. I don't like managing either, but I
Yeah.
have a small team, right? So
Yeah.
I'm all about leverage because I like to travel a lot. And I always told myself, like, I spent so many years hustling and not traveling, and traveling is my number one hobby. So I'm like, I spent all these years sacrificing my travel and sacrificing so much that I always told myself when I start doing better, I want to travel more. But to travel more, you have to have leverage. You have to have people that can do showings for you. You have to have an assistant. You have to have a team because if not, everything turns and burns into flames when you leave.
Yeah.
Like I know people that don't have help, and then when they come back, like everything fell through. Their clients are mad at them. Like things didn't get done. It's like a nightmare. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want things to keep going smoothly when I travel.
Yeah. And how do your clients now know that maybe they're not always going to get you?
Yeah, I had to change my process for that. You learn the hard way. At first, it was like surprise.
Right.
I'm not meeting you at the showing, but this
Actually, I'm
person-
in Rome right now, but have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So at first I did that, and some clients were kind of like you would see that they were taken back or they didn't really like it. So what I did now, I changed my processes where from the moment that I start working with someone, from the beginning, I'm like, here's my amazing team. I hype them up more than myself.
Yeah.
Right. Dimitri on my team, I'm like, he's better than me, actually. I'm like, he's better. He's a better showing agent. He's amazing. And like I do like an intro email at the beginning where I introduce them to my team and I like really hype them up and I talk about what they're gonna do. And for some showings, even if I'm here, I'll make someone else on my team go so that they can get accustomed to the person.
They're like, yeah, this team member is really good at just specifically mold inspections. So that way you just
Right?
have-
They love it.
exactly. You just have the worst person just showing up
You
for
just
all
have
of those.
experts for everything they do. They just want to
So you don't have to do anything ever.
go for lunch. Oh yeah, this
Exactly.
guy's actually fantastic.
Oh
at
my
lunch.
God, don't talk
Yeah.
to me about mold. Mold is like, I've had deals fall
Mold?
through because of mold.
You don't like mold?
Fuck mold. Fuck mold. Fuck
no
a
one
septic
likes
tank.
mold.
Oh, okay. What about like crown molding?
Crown molding is great.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Crown molding is great.
I mean, not all mold's bad, right?
Yeah.
I guess just
In
crown molding would be
Miami?
the only example of a good mold. And
Exactly.
cheese itself becoming molded milk, right?
Right, exactly. I mean,
There you
there's
go.
there's some
Ew.
good. if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at
Things that get
change, right?
changed. Oh my God,
There you
that's like
go.
the most bold Keller Williams things anyone has ever said.
So Sarah,
Yeah, I went to Bold. I have a story about Bold, but
Me
we'll
too.
save that for another
what's
day.
bold? That's the Keller Williams
I
conference.
did bold. I
Yeah.
did it twice.
I did Bold too.
Yeah,
It,
it's good. It helped me color block my calendar.
You know what? I think I'm cut from a different cloth or something because it
It didn't
didn't
do
bold
anything
me
for
up.
you?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't
Were
feel
you
any more
going?
bold. I went all
Were you
right.
doing the things?
Well,
What are
I
the
don't know if you
things?
had the same. I don't know if you had the same experience, but I had to stand up and sing "Man in the Mirror" at 7 a.m. with
And start jumping and
100,
all?
yeah,
Yeah.
150 other agents, and then they came and gave me like lifesaver mints. And yeah, I'm not. I mean,
I can't
it's
picture
fine.
you doing that.
No, well, I didn't, right? So maybe I didn't get the
I would
full.
see Eric doing that.
Yeah, right. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't be caught dead at Bold,
You
jumping
know
up and
what?
down
The
with a
thing is,
lifesaver mint in my
yeah,
mouth.
more like
No way.
mold. More
Yeah,
like mold.
exactly.
Oh.
But I think my trainer person at the time was like, it was her first time ever doing it, so maybe I didn't get like the full experience or something. Didn't I didn't love it. I think Keller Williams is great. The one thing, fantastic, good for you, Gary. But not for me. Not for me. You know.
Right.
I feel like they need to redo the Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
You think?
Yeah, I mean that book's antiquated. There's like nothing even about like social media or anything in that book,
Nothing.
which I wanted to get to, Sarah. But before we get to your social media presence, which is electric, I'm going to get into Tom Ferry real quick, and then also the 5 a.m. call. 5 a.m. call. Explain to us what this is. We've had Byron on. Still
Byron?
bothers me the 5 a.m. call, to be
Yeah, I don't
honest,
like
because
Why?
because everyone's
Sounds
still
awful.
it's just you get up
It's
at
like a
5. I know
little
you're a consistent host, right?
Yeah.
So explain
But
to the
you
people
don't get
what
up
this
at
is.
5.
No,
You get up at
Wait.
like 4.
well, let's see
No,
what
I get
Sarah
up at,
Sarah
like,
gets up.
No, because okay, so the thing is, like for me, so having a kid, right, makes your schedule has to be a certain way. And then someone gifted me the book Miracle Morning, and I remember reading it. You know which book it is, right? Eric's
No,
like,
no,
no,
we don't. No,
and he's
neither
like,
does Matt,
yes.
by the way. No, no.
Actually, it's
You
back
have
here.
Matt all wrong if you think that he's reading a ton
So
of
there's
books.
a book called The Miracle Morning for real estate agents, but you have like a regular one for non-real estate agents like you, Eric.
Right.
So they
Excuse
basically
me?
talk about
My
Eric's
miracle
is
morning
miracle
would be
afternoon.
yeah,
the
exactly.
so basically the book talks about like waking up early and doing specific things in the morning. So when I first got gifted the book, I was like, you know, when you throw a book and you're like, whatever, like
Yeah,
this is
just
not
toss it.
this doesn't work. It's
Torch
But then I
it.
started like following, top agents, and a lot of them were like, "Oh, I wake up early. I wake up early. I wake up early." And I'm like, "Okay, let me reread." So I went in the trash, got it again. I reread it, and they have a 30-day challenge in there where you have to wake up at 5 a.m. for 30 days and do specific things in the morning. And then I did the challenge, and I know it sounds super cliche, but it really, really changed my business. It really did because from 5, my daughter at the time would wake up at 6:37. So from 5 to 7 was like my time where I'm not stressed out, my phone's not blowing up, and I do things that made my day start better, right? So started doing it. I'm very consistent most of the time. Of course, there's days I sleep in and that I don't do it, but I do it most times. And even when I wake up a little later, I still do the things like the journaling and the gratitude and all of that. So it's helped me for my mental health, honestly, because real estate is fucked up. It can mess with you. And I feel like just starting the day with gratitude and affirmations and all that, like it's not as stressful in the morning, right? And especially when my daughter wakes up, it's like go, 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 right? So the 5 a.m. call is like a 5-minute call at 5 a.m. That's like a motivational call. It's really cool, honestly. Like it's like, you wake up at 5 or you want to wake up early, you just get on the call real quick for 5 minutes and it's super motivational. It's good for business. I have a bunch of people that are not realtors that get on the call. So it's just a quick motivational thing.
And you host it sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you say for 5 minutes? Like, do you have this entire thing written out or you just start talking? Because 5 minutes is a pretty long.
I don't know how no,
Not
it's
that
not
long.
that long. It's not that long.
Okay. Well, in
It's not that
comparison to a
long.
40-minute podcast, it isn't. But if you're just sitting there talking for 5 minutes, like, do you have a direction or you just say something like, evolution. We all need to start evolving with our
Oh my
content. And they just
God.
like keep going. Like, what do you say?
No, it's not the Discovery Channel. It's the 5 a.m.
Well, I know
club.
he doesn't say like that, but
Yeah.
give me an example. What do you say here with these
So
things?
like I just pulled up one that I did recently. So I have a group chat of other people that wake up at 5 a.m. So when it's gonna be my week, I'll ask them, "Hey, do you guys have anything you want to talk about, or
Okay.
that you would want to hear?" You're laughing. I know.
Well,
We have a whole accountability group.
no, I like
know.
accountability. I'm for the morning thing. I just
Laughing at our guest.
a group chat of everyone waking up at 5 a.m. Like the second your alarm goes off, do you all just text each other saying I'm up, I'm up, I'm up? Or is it
No,
just like,
everyone's like, "Good morning, good morning, good morning." I swear.
Sorry, Sarah. He can't grasp the concept of waking up.
oh,
at
I
5
can't.
a.m.
I want to say, Sarah, I completely agree. I've been waking up at 6 every morning and it's improved my productivity to the
At
moon.
6, really? Even 6, right? Just like waking
Yeah.
up a little bit. It doesn't
He's
have
like,
to be
"That's
5.
cute."
No, but
Yeah.
honestly, I'm like,
Yeah,
there's
I don't have
people
to
that
tell the
can't
world
do
about it
5.
every day. That's for sure. Just
But
kidding.
that's the thing. I'm like, it doesn't work for everybody. I just find
Yeah.
that like just getting that, even if it's an hour before your phone starts blowing up and before social media and before
Exactly.
the scammers or the spam start blowing up your phone, right?
Yep. No,
So like
100%. You have like a 2 hour like moment of peace where you can like drink your coffee, kind of like get the day
exactly,
started,
exactly.
relieve your bowels and do everything you have
You
to do
relieve your bowels.
in a time
True.
period before people start calling you, because the second your clients wake up, then it's just, it's fielding all these, insufferable opportunities and pains that you have to go
Mhm.
through. But once you just get up early and go through it, I totally get
But
that.
Eric,
So I am with you. I
unfortunately,
was making fun of it, but I
It's okay.
I
Eric
totally
doesn't
agree
get
with you.
that though. Eric doesn't get the sense of calm because unfortunately Dan and I are East Coast, so it's already 9 a.m. by the time he wakes up.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
his phone's blowing up
It already
by like
is
Nonstop.
probably.
4:30. Yeah,
And I
Exactly.
feel bad for people in the West Coast because it's
I
like
know it's hard.
nobody cares that
No,
you're
they don't. And the world
sleeping.
operates in East Coast time. So like Broke Agent Media operates East Coast. So
You're
blogs have
fucked.
to be up, Instagram posts have to be up. Like if I wake up at 7 or 8, then I'm screwing everything up because I'm not like posting and releasing all this information on everybody.
You
So
basically have to wake up at 3.
basically, yeah. That's why when I visit the East Coast, I'm like pumped about it because I feel like I'm in tune with everything that's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true
not
that you
that you
operate.
do ever, but
Right, exactly. Well, I go to Naples every now and
not
then.
coming to New York either. Not he's not
It's
coming to
freezing.
see us speak, Sarah, in New
You're
York.
not? Why would you not
Nope.
come to support
I
us?
know.
It's going to be
Right?
absolutely freezing in New York.
Just wear a coat.
Yeah,
I know. Sarah lives in Miami.
Yeah, whatever. There's too much stuff going on. I'm not going.
I
But
just
Sarah,
pulled up
what,
my 5 a.m.
yeah.
Topic,
Tell me.
the last
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah,
So
what'd
one
you
of
talk
them
about?
that I did was how doing things differently can lead to exceptional things.
Okay.
Just like, what you can do differently.
Mhm.
Another one that I did was the nighttime routine, like how to have a good morning. Like it starts with the nighttime.
What is your nighttime routine to have a
It's
good morning?
terrible. I have a
Oh,
terrible
so then
nighttime
what were
routine.
you talking about?
Because those are things I'm trying to do.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Got it.
Those are things I'm working on. Like I always believe like we're not perfect. And I'm honest about it. I'm like, listen, I struggle with my nighttime routine. Like I struggle going to bed early, but these are things that I'm trying to do that have helped.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, what are some things you try to do?
Melatonin.
Yeah, well, yeah. So you just
Turning off
take
my
a 5
phone.
milligram
That's not a
melatonin?
routine.
Yeah,
That's
that's not a
just
5-minute
It's not
talk
a
either. That's
routine.
popping a
Well,
5 milligram melatonin. I mean,
no, and those are like there's for example, like I'll take a bath. Like if I'm stressed out, like I'll take a
okay.
bath with like lavender.
Yeah.
I like to read at night. That puts me to sleep usually.
Mm-hmm.
Writing down stuff for the next morning or for the next day, like starting like preparing the next day, sending out emails or scheduling. When you write down an email and you schedule it out, like a couple of things like that help.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm still a work in progress for that because I could go to
Yeah.
bed at like midnight.
Yeah.
I
With
normally
Byron
do.
on these calls, is he just sitting there screaming at everybody for 5 minutes? I can't really
He's not.
picture.
He's actually really good.
Really.
He's really good, and I
Yeah.
feel like he freestyles sometimes.
Oh, he
I'm
definitely
sure he
does.
does. Yeah.
He did an entire like course. Every YouTube video he does, every talk he does is literally just straight from his brain. It's
Really, I
crazy.
wish I was like that.
I know. It's a skill that
Yeah.
most of us can't learn, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
My dog is like, I don't know what she's trying to do.
My dog's been pretty good this episode. He normally tries to get in his 2 cents.
Same, yeah. Mine's locked in the other room.
So before we wrap this up, though, we want to hear a little bit about your social because your social is electric. And what are you doing on there to make it electric?
What do you mean by electric? I want you to guys
Um,
to like
I
define
could
the
just
electric.
like when
I
we
could
plug in our
articulate it.
phones. Yeah. Uh,
When we plug in our phones, it blows up our phone.
yeah.
Vibrant colors,
Yep.
music festivals, outfits, real
Art Basel.
estate, Art Basel, kid, friends, Instagram stories, Greece. It's everything. So
It's a little bit of everything.
that's
You
it.
pepper
Yeah,
a little bit of everything on
exactly.
there. It's like a nice I
Electric
can't think of the food. Yeah.
cornucopia. It's a cornucopia of everything,
All right.
basically.
There you go.
I mean, I really like social media. And
Okay.
at the beginning, I had a separate page for real estate and then a personal page.
Yeah.
And then on my real estate page, I started posting like more personal things. And I realized that there's way more engagement when I was posting like what I was doing, Art Basel and everything. And then I started like kind of switching it up. I'm like, okay, let me do like half real estate, half personal. Then I realized, okay, people really love personal. So I'm like, let me put more personal things than real estate. And
Mhm.
what I realized is that people love reality TV. Like, why are
Yep.
all these shows blowing up, right? Because people love to follow other people's lives. And I realized that just by sharing what I'm doing and sharing just the cool stuff, I was showing the Miami lifestyle and also my lifestyle because I like to travel. I like to go, I do carnival, which is a cultural thing for me. And I remember back then, funny story, by the way, when I was at KW, I had an agent that was an elder agent, DM me to tell me that, yes, you do have a nice body and you have nice outfits, but I don't think those are like appropriate for real estate or you're like not covered and everything. And I had to reply to her. I'm like, this is part of my culture. This is part
Right.
of my culture. If you're upset looking at those photos, you can just unfollow me, right? And you guys don't know how many clients I've gotten because of Carnival, because I do Carnival. So
And
many clients from it.
explain what carnival is.
So Carnival in the Caribbean is right after, right before. Oh my God, why am I losing the word in English? Ash.
Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday, right? So right before that, it's just celebrations. The countries are completely shut down because people are just celebrating in the street. It's like celebrating freedom. And
Mm-hmm.
people wear costumes, they have fun, they party in the streets, they dance. And it's not just like me, it's kids, it's adults, it's everybody. Like Haiti, Trinidad, like the countries are completely shut down for over a month just to celebrate Carnival, right? So it's cultural for me. But the costumes are really nice, and I travel all around the world to do carnivals. Like I went to St. Lucia, I'm going to Trinidad, I'm going to Grenada, I've done the Miami one. So it's a cultural thing. But then I have people tell me, oh no, you shouldn't post photos of you wearing the costumes like that. But at the same time, by doing what I love doing, I've met awesome clients and I've met awesome people that work with me or that refer me just because I keep it real.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's what we've been saying on this for a year and a half, Matt. And I like your analogy that it's reality TV. That's a
It
great
is.
way to describe exactly how you should be documenting everything. So
And like I got a
very well said.
referral. I just closed on a referral, right? A really big referral that I got from another agent. And when she sent me the referral, I asked her, she's never met me. And she goes, oh, I think you guys are going to get along. And I'm like, oh, really? And she said, yeah, because you like food, you like to travel, you like this, you like, those are all things I post on my social. So because of that, she referred me to a client that actually she was right. We did get along. So
Yep.
Yeah.
social,
People just
social
want to
is
like relate to you. They want to relate to you on a deeper level
yeah.
than just you sell a lot of homes. So do a lot of other people.
Yeah.
What's like the personality thing is kind of like the one thing you have that no one else can replicate.
That's so true. And especially in Miami, right? Where I think there's like 55,000 agents in Miami.
My God.
Yeah.
55,000. How much is it in here,
Jeez.
in where you are?
Who?
How many agents, both of you guys?
I don't know.
Probably like
We just both don't know
60,000.
the answer.
I think I have like 60,000 or
Yeah, it's like
something.
75,000.
That
in
is
Canada, isn't it?
crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Or
It's
in
a lot
Toronto.
here.
I don't know.
But Toronto agents are good though, most of them. Are they?
No.
It's bad
No,
too?
like, oh yeah, it's horrible.
Damn.
Yeah, it's really bad. I mean, there's like there's a lot of amazing agents here, and I like a lot of agents I really like, but a lot of complete assholes. A lot of people who don't have like who did like literally zero deals. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That number's kind of weird because a lot of people just like have their license but don't actually sell.
But the thing is, in
So
Canada, when I did my exam, the exam was way harder than in Miami. Like the exam was
it's
so
hard.
easy. In Miami, the exam was so easy that I finished it, I think, in like 15 minutes.
Really?
And you
Yeah, I
can
Pass
heard
it
it
the
just.
first time. Matt, did you pass it the first time?
Um, I passed
Yes, no question. I mean, you know.
Well, no, there's like 3. Ours is like 3.
yeah,
We
Is
have to
it?
do 3
Montreal too.
courses.
And it's
Oh well,
complicated. The
yeah.
exam was not
I'm,
a joke.
but isn't there like just a final exam that you actually
No,
go
there's
in
a
and?
final exam after
Oh,
every course.
got it.
So,
Okay,
I failed the first exam and then I passed everything else.
got it.
Okay.
Failed the first one the first time and then got it the second time. Then from there, my next, because the way we do it is like 3, then you have 2 years to do the next 3,
Damn.
and then we do 6. And so, yeah, I just failed the first one and I got 73%. I need 75%.
Yeah, I failed it too in Canada.
Yeah, I failed the exam twice.
What?
Yeah.
In Cali?
Yeah, why is that funny?
They're pretty much giving those out on
You,
street
you guys
corners.
are just
What do you
talking.
mean?
You guys are just talking about how you failed your exams. I failed mine twice. I thought it was
Yeah,
a
and
G.
ours like
Everybody, yeah, because everyone kept saying
It's a
how easy
whole
it is.
day
It's the
thing.
easiest thing ever. So I was like, okay, if it's the easiest thing ever, pretty sure I could just go in there and pass this real estate
our
exam.
teachers wear like lab coats and shit. Yours, they're just like giving out in the
We didn't have
local
teachers. We literally, I
What?
took like an
We had
online.
teachers. We had
No,
teachers.
I.
It's
Yeah,
a-
we
Oh,
had
okay. Well,
less
there you go. I took
complicated.
online classes. I Googled every answer to the online class. You pass like some online stuff, and you just go take the exam. You take like a little crash course too. But
Wow.
whatever. A lot of people fail the exam. Comment F if you failed the real estate exam.
I think a lot
In
of
the
people did
comments.
it thinking that it would be easy, so they didn't study
Yeah, of
at all.
course.
But you
Exactly.
still have to like go through the stuff and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always heard it was easier in a lot of the like in the US.
Wait,
than-
because I
Yeah.
did the one in Montreal was like a whole day thing, like
yeah.
an entire day, and it was super expensive. I think it was like $700 to do the exam.
Oh,
Is it
damn.
still like that?
Yeah, like by the end of it, I think I paid like $3,000 or $3,400
Yeah.
for the 3 courses.
It's super
Because he just kept
expensive.
taking the test over and over again. Just in the whole like 80 grand.
Yeah, it only cost $100, but I just $3,000
The worst
trying
investment
to
ever.
pass it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it.
Exactly. Sarah,
yeah, no.
before we wrap up, I got to ask this because you're, affirmations, motivation, 5 a.m. club, TF coaching. It's 2023, right? This is the first.
I sound like a cliche.
No. You're not.
No, you sound
Not
cool.
cliche. Yeah. Affirmations, motivation. What are your 3 goals 2023? If you could list 3
Three
things.
goals.
Yes.
So something happened that I haven't talked about. I'm actually going to talk about it this year.
Okay.
In 2021, I had a huge autoimmune issues, and I was
okay.
super, super sick. I had to get surgery and everything. I didn't work for almost 4 months. So people don't know about that.
Mhm.
Half of my face was swollen. I had rashes all over my body. I'm still recovering from some rashes I had all over my body because of autoimmune disease. They thought I had lupus, but I didn't. Thankfully, so I got over it. I'll talk about it later. But what that year had taught me was that you really need to take time off.
Yeah.
That's like a huge, people always talk about grind, work, like hustle, wake up at 5 a.m. That's great. But when you have autoimmune disease or when you have autoimmune issues, stress makes it worse. And what that year taught me is that I was able to take 4 months off and still have the best year of my career.
It's awesome.
Right. So
Yep.
2023 is going to be work, but also a lot, like you guys are going to see me travel even more and take even more time off because I realized that it's not worth it. Like the whole no sleep, the whole grind, if you can't enjoy your life, you can drop dead at any moment. And we've seen it. We've seen people crumble. You can have panic attacks. Your health can suffer. So top 1 is really taking time off and take like self-care, time for myself.
Love that.
You said 3 things that I want to do.
It doesn't have to be 3.
Okay. Well, I think that's like literally number 1. And number 2, I really want to grow my team and grow my team with agents that are like me, that are really customer service driven, that are hustlers, and that also want to create a really awesome life, because you can do that with real estate. So yeah, take care of yourself, because I tell that to people, like your health, like my health
Yeah.
suffered.
Yeah, and when you're more recharged and like ready to face the day, you give better service to everyone around
100%,
you. So
100%.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you're more relaxed too. Like you're in a better mood and you're more you listen more to people. You're
yeah,
just better all around. So people
yeah.
nobody talks about taking time off.
True.
Agreed.
It's a
People
great
talk about
answer.
oh grind, 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 grind. No, you need to take time off. Even if it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
And also when you take time off or when you travel, somehow business comes out of nowhere. So
Oh
I
yeah.
don't
Always.
know how that
When
happens.
you're traveling.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for in the content game, unfortunately. Works in real estate, but if you just stop posting,
Yeah,
like
no.
for BAM or articles or YouTube videos or Instagram posts or anything like that, if you just stop, you don't all of a sudden just get more everything. You just
I
Yeah.
love your blog, by the way. You're doing a
oh,
really
thank
good
you,
job with the blog.
thank you.
And you have good people that are like on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. We have a good staff, good writers, good editors.
You guys
It's
are doing
it's
good.
going well.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys are taking the five. You're talking about how like you don't get the 5 a.m. call thing, but then you guys are like, "Hey, do you mind if you repurpose your content for the blog?"
Oh, we love the 5 a.m. call. I was just giving you a little shit for it. I just think because Byron's obsessed with it, and I get texts from Byron because he's waking up at 5 a.m. New York time. So I'm
I feel
getting
like
texts
he
from
wakes
him.
up even earlier than 5.
Yeah, yeah. He probably wakes up. He probably just never sleeps actually, but he'll text me starting at like 2 a.m. Los Angeles time.
I think Byron
So
just
it's just
hangs like a bat all night. Yeah.
he sits in a cryogenically frozen chamber, just delegating and operating. But no, I actually I appreciate the hustle and the 5 a.m. stuff. I was just coming at it from a sarcastic lens, but
Oh, I
I
know,
really
I know,
I
I know.
really think I really think the 5 a.m. club is helpful for everybody involved
Isn't it called the
and all
5
those
a.m.
agents.
call?
5
Yeah,
a.m.
5
club,
a.m. call. Well, it's the
whatever.
5 a.m. call, and you're like part of the 5 a.m. club type of.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. I
loop
just
me
wanted
into
So,
that text group of yours, Sarah. The
oh
5
my
a.m. one. I
God,
want to say hello to
you
people the
want to
second
be
I
on
wake up.
it? Yeah, you want to wake up at 3.
2 a.m.
No,
your
you
time.
too actually, 2 a.m. You want to just wake up, like that's what you want.
Exactly.
What's
Yeah.
funny too is that, well, not funny, but what people don't know is that they turned every episode into a podcast. So no matter what time you
Yeah.
wake up, you can go listen to the call.
And we
There
will
you
put
go.
a link down to the 5 a.m. call in the description here and a link down to Sarah's Instagram, which is
Thank
at Sarah
you.
Desamours. And this was a fantastic episode. Thank you so much for coming. If you guys
Thanks for
enjoyed this, make
having
sure
me,
you
guys.
throw it a like. Yes,
Of course. Thanks, Sarah. See you in New
Thank
York.
you for having me. I'll see you in New York.
of course.